Hi, welcome to the podcast by Dr. Sushma Singh. Let us start conversation on Unit 7 Politics of Educational Curriculum, and our topic is National Curriculum Framework. Till the year 1976, the Indian Constitution allowed the state government to take decision on all matters pertaining to school education, including the design and development of curriculum. All the educational matters were within the jurisdiction of state. The center could only provide guidance to the states on policy issues. In 1976, the constitution was amended to include education in the concurrent list. For the first time in 1986, the country as a whole had a uniform national policy on education. The National Policy on Education 1986 entrusted NCERT with the responsibility of developing the National Curriculum Framework (NCF) and review the framework at frequent intervals. Since then, NCERT has taken the initiative of designing the NCF at intermittent intervals. The framers of NCF 2000 operated under the assumption that Indians do not recognize the greatness of their glorious past. They pinned responsibility for this on those who ruled the country and made it bereft of its own culture. The NCF laments that though the Indian children know about Newton, most of them are ignorant about the contribution of Aryabhatta. They do not know about computer but are not aware of advent of the concept of zero or the decimal system. The alien rulers did not allow knowledge which related to the country's own ethos, reality, culture and people to be imparted through educational curriculum, because they thought that the indigenous knowledge and practices were deficient. Here reference is made to alien rulers and not to the British specifically. Therefore, it refers to the primordial past which was dominated by the Mughals and then by the British. The NCF 2000 can be questioned on its stand on vocational education. It gives importance to the vocational education but does not make it uniform for the entire society. The NCF 2005 accepts that work education and vocational education are an integral component of our school education system and that work experience can develop an understanding of facts and principles involved in various forms of work and inculcate a positive attitude towards work. Work experience is treated as purposive and meaningful work organized as an integral part of the learning process. Therefore, one can say that it also aims to work toward merging the gap between mental and manual labor. But the paradox in the above objectives comes when the NCF 2000 segregates vocational education from the mainstream academic stream. The framework widens the gap between the two by introducing separate vocational and academic streams after class 10th. The NCF mentions that the vocational stream is designed for the socially disadvantaged groups such as women, scheduled caste, scheduled tribe and physically challenged people. Instead of providing equality of opportunity through a uniform pattern of education, NCF 2000 further introduces class division into education and further rigidified division of labor. Vocational education was used to widen the gap between the haves and the have-not. The NCF 2000 worked on the assumption that For the majority of students, the higher secondary stage may be the end of their formal education. They could be trained to be a part of the world of work, and so should be imparted vocational education. This section of society was not compliant with the education system and so witnessed a higher dropout rate. The NCF provides a solution to this problem by restricting them to vocational education to become efficient workers. There was an equally explicit assumption that the future leadership would emerge from the academic stream, from those who went to tertiary stage of education. The following two excerpts from the NCF 2000 explains this clarity. For the majority of students, the higher secondary stage may prove terminal. For them, it would be serve as doorway to life and, more importantly, to the world of work. While the top leadership would be provided by a small minority to be groomed at the tertiary level in every department of life, the second or the intermediate level of leadership on a much wider scale would have to be provided by the products of a higher secondary stage. They are expected to make a meaningful contribution to our developmental efforts in agriculture, industry, business, and various other social services. This division in the academic and vocational stream perpetuates the division in society, as one section of society is prepared to take up a vocational and make an earning to support oneself and the family, while the other section would plan and participate in development process of the nation. This division in a sense trains the dominant section of society to rule the rest and be the future leaders. It envisages different education for the two streams, and instead of putting in steps to narrow the gap between the vocational and the academic stream, it turns them into two watertight compartments. Rajesh questions the intention of the NCF in promoting the dual and unequal system. The objectives and the expectations from both the streams are completely different. The academic and vocational distinction crops up from the already existing social divisions in society and further perpetuate future job divisions. Those who are destined to get vocational education will fit the blue collar workforce, while those who will endowed with academic training will do white collar jobs. The NCF 2004 was intended to build a cohesive society based on pillars of relevance, equality, and excellence, with thrust on inculcating sense of patriotism and nationalism. This would be achieved by integrating indigenous knowledge and recognizing the contribution of India towards world civilizations and meeting the challenges of information and communication technology and globalization squarely. This called for decentralizing the process of curriculum development, providing knowledge about all religions and values at all stages of school education, ensuring the inclusion of learners with various challenges in the mainstream, and mobilizing the resources for achieving the educational goals of country, confirming the availability of preschool education to all children in the country, and prohibiting formal teaching and testing of different subjects at this end, and integrating art education, health and physical education, and work education into the module of art of a healthy and productive living at the primary stage itself. More importantly, it recommended available strong vocational stream for enhancing employment opportunities and entrepreneurship at the higher secondary stage. The education system can be made more effective when suitable implementation strategies for the orientation, participation, and accountability of teachers, parents, community, and managers of the systems are adopted. The National Curriculum Framework 2005 seeks to provide a framework within which teachers and schools can choose and plan experiences that they think children should have. In order to realize educational objectives, the curriculum be conceptualized as a structure which articulates required experiences. For this, it addresses some basic questions. What educational purposes should the schools seek to achieve? What educational experiences can be provided that are likely to achieve these purposes? How can these educational experiences be meaningfully organized? And how do we ensure that these educational purposes are indeed being accomplished? NCF 2005 reviewed the NCF 2004 and on that basis proposed 5 guiding principles for curriculum development, connecting knowledge to life outside the school, ensuring that learning shifts away from rote method, and enriching the curriculum so that it goes beyond textbooks, making examinations more flexible and integrating them with classroom life, nurturing an overriding identity informed by caring concerns within the democratic polity of the country. Here we wind up this conversation, and thank you so much for choosing this podcast.